press conference will take place in 2 halves, and we have a star-studded lineup for you today. So, with no further notice, let me introduce our first 5 drivers. Hometown hero and round-the-world ocean racer Nikolaj Seested from Denmark, SailGP team presented by ROCKWOOL. 3 times Olympic medalist, America's Cup winner and last season Impact League winner Peter Berlin of New Zealand. Current SailGP champion, overall season 3 leader and Olympic gold medalist Tom Slingsby from Australia. The most decorated Olympic sailor of all time, Sir Ben Ainslie, driver of the Great Britain SailGP team. And not a new driver to the deep, but new to the Swiss team, Olympic gold and silver medalist Nathan Ordered. Welcome all. Nikolaj Seested, nice position to be in this weekend. You made your first final in Plymouth and finished 3rd. Do you plan on topping that this weekend?
I think we're still just getting started. I think we need to, we're still working hard on our bottom level, so we don't have these drop races. No, we're gonna continue working hard because the fleet's only getting better and better every single Grand Prix, and it's you can't really lay back a single day because you're gonna lose. So no, we will work hard, and we plan to do the same thing again. Hopefully, fight for a spot at the podium, but it's not gonna be easy. I mean, it's a fantastic fleet and high level, so we'll have a work cut out for us.
As a Danish fan, we've been looking forward to that result for quite a while. What did you change to make it happen in Plymouth?
To be honest, we didn't change much. It was just a bit of a process. It takes a bit of time to get up to speed in these boats, and it's a really, really high level out there, so you can't make many mistakes over 2 days before you're out of the podium race. And I think, we always just have to be a bit patient, keep our head down and keep working, and then eventually results will come, and hopefully now it'll be a little bit easier from here on, but no, it's a long process to be consistent at the top, and that's the goal.
You just made the final in Plymouth, and at one stage during the final, it actually looked like you were going to win it. You led by 500 meters. But looking back on that final, what would you have done differently in terms of tactics?
It was pretty painful to watch the replay because it was quite obvious afterwards. We should have went out to New Zealand and just covered them. We thought it was going to get a left shift again at the top like we had most of the day there, but it obviously wasn't the case. But in hindsight, it was stupid. We should have just covered them and shut the race down instead of leave it up to 2 chances, and that was a mistake.
And turning our view to this event, this is the first time in Copenhagen. What can the fans expect from this weekend?
Hopefully it's going to be amazing racing. I think it will be. I think it's probably the Grand Prix with the closest sailing to the fans in terms of distance from the water. So I think it'll be very, very cool to watch. Tight racing, good race course, hopefully some breeze. I think it's going to be really, really cool, and we're looking forward to it, and we'll definitely do ours to make sure it's fun to watch for the Danish fans.
Peter Berlin, you made your first victory in Plymouth, and congratulations with that. It must feel good.
Yeah, well, it was actually our first final as well, so I suppose firstly to get into the final and then to put together a good race lead at Mark 1, and I managed to get past the Danish on that second lap was something that we're really pleased with as a group.
You both looked more stable during the Plymouth event, and there seemed to be more comms on board. What was the difference? What were you changing?
I think we got a pretty similar answer to what Nikolaj said when you asked him this question, but yeah, for us it's just been a process of trying to make small gains in every area, and I think we did a good job of bringing it all together in Plymouth. I think we talked a lot about consistency before that event, and really making sure you didn't do anything out of the ordinary, but just did everything well. And that's what we're trying to do again here this weekend.
You're taking some criticism for your performance to date, and the Kiwis definitely expect a lot from their athletes. Do you think you're winning their respect back?
I don't think you can win that kind of thing in one result, but for us, we've got a amazing support back at home. We're really looking forward to growing that support, and it's just exciting for us to also have a home Grand Prix coming up in a few events time now. So it's going to be amazing to bring SailGP down to Christchurch in New Zealand, and really show I suppose the Southern Hemisphere in New Zealand what this league's all about.
Tom Slingsby, you won the first 2 events, and then this event in Plymouth, you have to give the crown to New Zealand. Are you surprised it was the Kiwis who took it from you?
No, not at all. We knew that we were going to lose soon. I know we had a nice little run there of 5 events, but New Zealand, for sure, we knew that they were lurking and they were improving every event. Yeah, contrary to what Pete says, it looks like they did change their setup a little. They were definitely sailing quite high and windward heel, and the look of the boat looked different. And we look at that and try to figure out, is that better than the way we're sailing the boat, and how can we make improvements, because their level jumped up a long way. We knew that the Kiwis were coming to the top of the fleet soon. In practice, they've been doing really well, and it was just a matter of time before they sort of got that off their back, that they hadn't made a final. And yeah, they're going to be a real contender this year for sure.
Peter, how did you achieve that windward heel that you were sailing with in Plymouth?
I think it's just, the team sailing the boat well. Everyone's obviously trying to push the ride height as high as they can, trying to push the height on the windward hull as low as they can. And, if you're sailing the boat well, it's obviously going to have more windward heel. So, we're really pleased with the way that the group's been improving. But it's cool. It was exciting for us as well to be the first team to win the double. So we won the Impact League and the Grand Prix in Plymouth. So that's a huge milestone for us as a group, and something that has been a goal of our group the whole way through. So super proud of the team for doing that as well.
Tom, in Plymouth, you didn't look as great in your performance as you've been the events leading up to that. What will you be working on to get back up in speed this event?
I guess it's a compliment getting told that we don't look like we're sailing as well and still getting a second place.
It is indeed.
It's but if I'm honest, we came away from that feeling like we didn't sail as well as we could have, and the level wasn't as high as we wanted, and I think we felt that way also in Chicago when we got away with a win there. We felt like we weren't sailing at our potential. Frankly, my starts haven't been good enough. We've been trying a few different things, and if I'm honest, we're trying to take away a bit of risk in the starts and try to get more consistently off the line, and it's actually sort of worked against us a little. In these boats, you kind of need to take risk, and you've got to be coming into the line with speed. Even if that means that there might not be many gaps for you to find, it's still a risk worth taking, it seems. We weren't doing that well. So I've got to improve our starts, and we are making a few mistakes around the racetrack, but I am really proud of how we're able to come back through the fleet. We seem to be a team that's very strong at that. After a bad start, we can salvage a decent result, and that's a positive out of it. But the negatives are definitely our starting, and we just don't want to be so far back in the race in the first place.
And of course, we have to talk about the elephant in the room with the two of you, both you and Ben, sitting up there. You weren't very popular with the British fan in that 5th race leading up to the final, where you had this port starboard with Ben. Do you really need to alter course to meet Ben to miss Ben, or did you alter course to exaggerate the situation and force the penalty?
In my opinion, we could have hit him. But is it going through my head that Ben Ainsley's team are pretty much equal points with us at that stage? They're fighting for a position to make the final, and they are second to us in the overall season. And do I have a chance to put a penalty on that, the second place team? Yeah, of course I wanted to get a penalty on them. But at the same time, could I have hit them? Yes, I could have hit them. Did I over-exaggerate the move? It really didn't feel like that on board. I felt like I steered up to miss hitting him. It's really hard to judge at those closing speeds. If I could have missed him by a metre, I would have done that, because it looks closer and the judges are more likely to give him a penalty if I miss him by 1 metre. But I just steered to miss him, and I didn't know I was in the steer up. I missed him by 5 or 10 metres. It didn't occur to me. I was just trying to miss a collision. But for sure, with the overall points in the back of my mind, we needed to get some points on Ben, and so we did want to get a penalty there.
And Ben, now we heard how Tom took it, and in Plymouth you definitely didn't feel the same way. Looking back at that situation, how do you feel about it now? How do you see it now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we see it differently. We don't feel it was a penalty, but you know, of course we're going to feel that way. And you know, we would have done exactly the same thing in Tom's position. And it's one of those many incidents that you get in SailGP at this level. And you know, we might not like the result, but that's kind of why we go racing, because we love to be in that cut and thrust that we're seeing out there.
And looking back on it, would you had made a different decision, trying not to cross in front of him and go behind him instead?
Looking back at the incident, actually the actual incident itself, I don't think we would have done a whole lot different. But certainly if you look back a couple of steps through the race, we would have done a few things differently. And that's often the way with these incidents. It's a sort of chain of events that can lead to it wasn't catastrophic, we got a penalty and obviously knocked us out of the final race, but it leads to, builds up, and so certainly looking back, we would have done a few things differently. Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
How do you feel that Nathan said on the SailGP podcast that any sailor worth their weight would not have put themselves in that position?
Well, Nathan's entitled to his opinion. I mean, he's good to see you back, by the way, Nathan.
I don't know if I use those exact words.
But yeah, I mean, he's right. I mean, he's right. We you know, at the end of the day, it was our mistake. We'd have done a few things differently. Does that mean that we're shit sailors? I don't think so. But we'll keep trying our best. Hopefully, we can make Nathan happy.
Aside from that, you said yourself that you need to get better at starting, at that you in Plymouth at the first day especially didn't start very well.
No, we didn't. Saturday we had terrible starts, and you know, we're quite open about that. If we're not sailing well, I think we try to be open and honest about that. Tried a few things differently, like Tom was saying, and it didn't really work for us. So the start's obviously key, and you know, Sunday we were slightly better off the start line and put ourselves in a better spot. So it's about reviewing and constantly trying to improve. I think all the teams you speak to, they're constantly on the search for those gains. It's no different for us. We've got a really good coach, Rob Wilson. He helps us to go through and analyse these things, and particularly the starts, and the rest of the team as well. So we'll keep chipping away, and it's, you know, we're now in the fourth race of this season, so a long way to go, and we just got to, you know, like I say, keep pushing to make those gains and be consistent, and it's all about trying to get into that top three at the final.
And any words of having Nathan Aldrich back?
Yeah, like I said, great to see Nathan back. No, I mean, joking aside, Nathan's a huge talent in the sport, and SailGP is about having absolutely the best sailors. And I think it's a really smart move for the Swiss team to bring Nathan in to understand, you know, potentially where there are some jumps that they can take in technique and tactics and starting and so on. And no doubt he's going to have a big impact on that. And I think we all thought it was a tough call losing Team Japan, and without doubt, Nathan's, you know, I think he's got a strong future ahead in SailGP. So this is part of that stepping stone. And
coming to you, Nathan, welcome back. New colours for this event. It must be good to be back at the wheel.
Yeah, no, it was a little tough, as you know, Ben mentioned, just sitting out watching the last few events. You end up making some comments in broadcasts or podcasts that come back to bite you. So no, it's really cool to be back, get this opportunity to work with the Swiss team this season, and you know, it was probably a bit of surprise to me that initially they just wanted my coaching help in Plymouth, which led to, you know, are you interested in doing some driving this season? So of course I jumped at that situation, and you know, I think it's a really smart call, and you know, a tough call for Seb to make, to say, look, I've been driving the boat, but you know, there's a good chance that, you know, he could learn a little bit from me this year. So he's like, can you drive and teach me about the boats, about the racing, and we'll try and find a way to integrate him, you know, into the boat for the racing this weekend.
And how was the journey going from that sailing advisor to actually driving? What was it just him asking you, can you drive the boat, or was there anything else involved in it?
It's kind of a big picture kind of discussion that we had after Plymouth. They were sort of saying, you know, give us a bit of an assessment on where the program sits. You know, obviously coming 9th and 8th in the first three events is not really what the team wants in terms of performance. And speaking with Tongi, who's the CEO of the team, and Seb, they said, you know, we want to improve the performance, you know, a bit in the short term. So hence, can we have you driving and help train the crew up? But we also want to build the team and get it strong for season 4. You know, you look at the level of competition that's in SailGP, and you know how long it takes to be performing at the front of the fleet. You know, I think the team's under no illusion that we can turn it around in a couple of days or a couple of events. It's going to take all season, and you know, my role within the team really is to help grow the understanding of the F50 and to get better at racing. You know, it's a very different race format to what, you know, the traditional sailors are used to coming out of Olympic classes with, you know, the software and the umpiring and the small starting boxes. So we've kind of been developing a bit of a program over the last few weeks on what that will look like throughout the season.
So realistically, what would the realistic goal for this particular event be?
You know, try and improve performance a little bit for sure. I think you know, they struggled a little bit getting off the start line, so hopefully I can bring some of the starting techniques to the team. And manoeuvre consistency. We were sort of, the team was losing, you know, a lot of spots in Plymouth, you know, for, you know, just not manoeuvring as well as we can. So, you know, we sailed yesterday in drifter conditions, and we're really hoping we get some foiling conditions today so that we can actually try and use our one and only training day that's left to, you know, be in better shape for the racing.
Do you see these light winds play in your favor?
Hopefully. You know, I had a bit of a tradition of being quite good in the light winds with the Japanese team, but also in the lighter winds, you have a bit more time to think and process how to sail the boat. So, you know, if we get some nice conditions today and can do some foiling training, we can hopefully improve our manoeuvring and a bit of straight line performance. And a couple of practice races this afternoon, and I'm sure it'll be a long debrief tonight on how we want to set up the crew list and how we want to, you know, really attack the racing.
Thank you very much. And I'll take a look around the floor and see if there's any questions around here. Any questions on the floor? There's one here.
Hey, Tom, one for you. Does it feel with Nathan being back in the game now, and obviously Pete really firing in the last round, that sort of the stakes have kind of risen? I mean, there's so much competitiveness in this series, and it just seems that, you know, so many of you now are capable of winning. Has it gone up another level even from, you know, from Plymouth, do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I think, last season there were probably only a couple of teams that were sort of winning events, and Nathan's team was one of that. And then, but now you've had the emergence of the New Zealand SailGP team, and they're doing really well. So for me, I think, you look at the teams that are able to win events. The teams that have won events, we've now got sort of everyone on the start line. And then you've got Denmark, who's been improving non-stop, and some other teams there who are really getting up there. It's a tough one. It really can't. We go out there and practice, and what you see in practice racing very often isn't what happens in the racing. It's really who performs on the day. And sometimes we go out there and blitz practice racing, and then on day one have a shocker. And so it's really who's going to be able to perform on the day, and what the conditions might suit different people. But having Nathan part of the league, obviously I've grown up with Nathan, and he kicked my ass in junior sailing for sort of 15 years. So it's just great to have. In my opinion, he's in the top couple of sailors in the world, and so to have him on the start line is it's awesome for all of us. And now with his starting techniques, he's one of those guys who starts at the back and slingshots through on the start line. That always makes things interesting as well. You've got to keep an eye out behind you for the boat coming in with speed, and it's good. It's a good thing to have.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time, and we need to see the next 4 sailors. So best of luck this weekend to the 5 of you, and please be seated. There will be a couple of minutes where we change out in the drivers, so please be seated. World Match Racing Champion Phil Robertson, driver of the Canadian team, Olympian and European silver medalist in the NACRA class, Quentin Delapierre from France, and 2020 Olympic bronze medalist Jordi Chama from Spain SailGP team. Welcome. Jimmy, another disappointing event in Plymouth, currently 7th. You have said that you need to be patient, but you as fans must surely be asking, how is it that a team like Canada can come into the league and instantly have a better performance than you?
Yeah, look, I think that's a good question and something we've definitely, asked ourselves and been pretty harsh inside the team. And okay, what do we need to improve? And really pulled no punches actually. We thought we definitely after Chicago, we made some good improvements. I thought our straight line speed up and was good. Our results to Mark 1 were good. Actually, both ourselves and Canada, I think, really did it, dominated in that regard. But we definitely let ourselves down around the track. Made some mistakes decision-making wise and also in manoeuvres. So, nothing's really changed. You need to sail well, you need to sail consistently, and you need to keep the mistakes down. And up until now, we've been making more than the others, and the results we've had, that's what we deserve, really, the way we've been sailing. But, we've been slowly making adjustments and improvements. We have to keep pushing forwards. And the team definitely, they're putting the work in. We know what we've got to do. But as we've seen with the Kiwi team, it's taken them well over a season before even making a podium race. So at this level, with these sailors and teams, there's no shortcuts.
Now, you said it yourself, we are a third way through the season, and last season you said you didn't need to win events just to get in the top 3 at every event to make the final. Do you think the grand final at the end of the season in San Francisco is slipping away now?
No, I don't think so. Man, if there's one thing this racing produces is surprises. Anything can happen. Only take a couple of incidents. It could be a crew missing on teams or sickness, injury. Who knows what could happen? Things can change very, very quickly and turn. And in our position, we're actually not looking too far ahead. I actually think that would be a big mistake to be thinking too far ahead. What we need to focus on is race by race, making good decisions, getting stronger and reviewing the data and coming back the next day and just taking it one at a time. And that's our philosophy. We're not thinking that far in the future.
Nathan got snapped up by the Swiss. Did you consider him for your team?
I didn't know he was American, but yeah, look, it's great to see Nathan back. He's one of the best sailors in the world, and clearly it's good to see him back out there on the start line. From the Swiss point of view, I'm surprised. I've got to say my take would have been you learn more by getting on the field than standing on the sideline. So I was a little surprised at the decision.
Phil Robinson, first time you didn't make the final this season in Plymouth. Statistically, you have been the best starting stats this season, but the start seems to be what let you down on the second day in Plymouth. What went wrong on the Sunday?
We're just trying to manage expectations. No, look, the second day, it was a bit of a tricky one for us. It's new conditions, and as a new team, you're exposed to when you face new challenges. And for us, it was something completely different and new, and we had the right plan. We just didn't execute it, and we sailed a bit like Muppets, to be honest, on that day, but we took a lot of learning out of it, so that's the positive.
You're now 4th overall, and how do you plan to get back into that final here in the Denmark event?
Yeah, look, it's been an incredible start for the team. I think we're well above expectations in our own, and if we'd told ourselves we'd be 4th after the 3 events, I think we'd probably laugh at you. But look, we're here now, and we know what we can do and what we can produce out on the racetrack, and it's something that we're proud of. And yeah, again, we've sort of had pretty similar conditions at every event, and we've managed them pretty well. And yeah, when it gets a bit different and tricky, that's when we're probably going to struggle. So we've got to come in with pretty open minds when we face new challenges. And the weekend ahead looks like we've got one light day and one possibly windy and shifty day. So yeah, completely new days for us as a team, and we've got to put ourselves as the new team as we are and face the challenges that way.
What do you think of Nathan coming to drive the Swiss boat? Is it similar to what the Canadians had done with you, bringing in your experience in the driving seat to fast track the learning for the rest of the team?
Yeah, I haven't looked too much into it, to be honest, and we're not too bothered, but for sure racing one of these boats experiences
everything, and you can sort of cut some corners pretty heavily, and we sort of did it with the Spanish team. You cut all the learning corners by bringing in experience, and the good thing of that is you probably jump to the top of the fleet or somewhere near it and are competitive, but the bad thing is you don't learn the hard lessons the hard way, and that's where you probably struggle. So yeah, I probably echo a little bit of what Jimmy says, and it's a good move, but it can also be a bad move as well.
Yesterday in training, you had Sarah Douglas on board, 2 times Rolex Yacht Woman of the Year, and even driving the F50. Is that a new sign?
Yeah, well, I guess when we're sailing the F50s at about 6 kilometers an hour, Sarah's probably a lot better than me at doing that, coming out of the laser class. But look, she's a fantastic talent, and we'll definitely be utilising her in the future.
Quinton, the team seem to be showing a lot of promise and have been in contention to make the podium in the last 2 events of this season. Will we see the French team on the podium at this event?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, really proud of our work. It's going pretty well, and I mean, race after race, it's getting better. I think we have a good balance between data analysis and also playing. We really want to play around the race course and not be always really focused on data or something. I think at one point, and the league starts to be at this level, you have to climb to bring your sailor's mind and your sailor's feelings, and yeah, I think we are close to that, and that's pretty good for the team.
Is that how you make your tactical decisions when everything is happening so fast, not looking at the data, but looking inside?
Yeah, I think you have to keep your head out for the drivers, and I put all my confidence on Kevin to get the performance side on his own. So yeah, we'll see if it works, but I think the collaboration on board is pretty good, and we'll see.
4 of 9 of the team have now won an event. Do you think the French people are starting to come at a level where you feel you can win an event?
I think the boat handling starts to be pretty good. The Aussies are the best. We try to close the gap, but firstly we have to be in the final. If you are not in the final, it's not possible to win any races in any event in SailGP. So firstly we have to be focused on the final.
It's less than 3 weeks to the next event in France. What would that mean to the team to be racing in your home country?
I mean, just want to be there with all the fans, and it's sailing is with the Vendée Globe and all the stuff is a pretty good legacy in France. So I think we will have a lot of crowd, and hopefully we will do well in front of our fans. Yeah.
Jordi, it's been a tough season so far. Currently, you're just 1 place off the bottom of the leaderboard. Are you worried you're not getting to grip with the F50 quickly enough?
Well, to be honest, we were not expecting it to be easy, no. And obviously, we here in SailGP we are racing the best sailors, the best athletes of the world now in the F50. So, well, we know there's no shortcuts. The only shortcut is to work harder, and this is what we're doing. This is what we will continue to do, and looking forward.
There's been some talks in the media that Diego Butin would be a consideration to swap position with you if the performance doesn't improve. How long do you think you should be given to prove yourself as a driver of the team?
Yes, of course. Diego is a very good sailor, no? And to be honest, I feel very lucky and proud to have him on the team. But the most important is that we are together in this with Diego and of course with all the team working together, and it's gonna be like in our team we are putting this climbing together, and this is what we will continue to do.
So you think you should be given a bit more time?
Well, we've seen, no, that it's at the end. In SailGP, it doesn't really matter if you're Peter Burling, Nikolai Segested, or whoever you are. No, at the end, everyone needs time, and of course, on us. It won't be different. No, to need that time to be in the top. No, of course. This doesn't mean that we wanted to. Of course, we're doing our best to shorten the time, and we know, no, the only shortcut is to work harder, and this is what we're doing now more than ever.
So now we talked about some of the challenges, but what are the positives you're taking away from this season so far?
The team, to be honest, we haven't had an easy time, no, and in all this time we haven't seen a bad face, a bad mood, nothing bad. We are like now more together than ever, and yeah, now we are not in an easy moment, but if we pull this out together, it's gonna be also very special. So we're just focusing on that.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions from the floor? Yeah, there's one here.
Phil, we're all pleased to see Nathan back. I wondered whether you were perhaps less keen than everybody else. Is he going to take his wing trimmer back off you?
Look, we're stoked to have Nathan back, to be honest. I think as an athlete, you want to be competing against the best people in the world, and Nathan's clearly one of those, so it's great to have him back on the start line.
Any more questions? No, I think we just wrap it up there. Thank you very much for your time, and remember to come and see all the sailing at the harbour this Friday and Saturday, and for those of you seeing the live stream who can't be there, please go to the SailGP website to see where you can watch, and then if you're in Denmark, please watch it on TV2, and good luck to all of you.